Greetings YouTube. Update on my Keen work boots. I am still thoroughly and absolutely in love with these work boots. Best decision I ever made when it came to a pair of work boots was to get myself a pair of extra wide Keen work boots. This particular model because it has many of the features I like, such as the tab in the back, it's a logger, um, it has this nice gusset so that the water can actually come up fairly high in your shoe without you have to worry about it. They're just all around awesome shoes. Very happy I bought them. I'll be purchasing Keens in the future. What I haven't been so impressed by are the laces. These are not the laces that came with my Keens. At this point, I've been wearing these things for 6 weeks. And that's how long the laces lasted. 6 weeks. The one on my right boot fell apart when I got home from work yesterday, and I had to rather quickly make myself a new set of laces using the remaining one as a template for length out of paracord. Now, paracord is absolutely my favorite lace. I knew that eventually I would be replacing the laces that came with this with paracord. That was not the issue. But they only lasted 6 weeks. That really distressed me. That I'm like, wow, that's some crappy laces you got there. Now, one of the things is the laces were a little on the thin side because the eyelets on these, the hooks I should say, the eyelets are down here. These hooks are fairly narrow and they're really designed to be receptive of a narrow shoelace. Now, I'm not quite sure why Keen went with such a narrow shoelace. It was considerably thinner than most shoelaces I've encountered in other work boots. And I don't know what the design decision behind that was. Um, was it purely aesthetic because of the scale? I'm not sure. But I had to get something use, and I needed them right that day so I could go to work that night with laces. Thankfully, I have an entire spool of black paracord in my closet. But because these are so thin, I can't use the paracord as it comes off the roll. Now, real paracord is an external sheath with 7 individual pieces of line on the inside. Okay, and you can separate them, which is useful in survival situations, but also it's useful when you want to make your paracord not as thick. So I cut 2 pieces of paracord. I stripped the innards out. I kept that. I'll throw that in my shop. I can use that for equipment repair and like that. Just think of it as super heavy duty a thread or even twine. It's very slick though. It has a high polish to it, so it's actually not going to take a knot great, but it would make it decent for threading, for sewing, because it's going to slide through materials relatively easily. But because I did that, and all I had to do is just melt the ends a bit. They're still tubes. In fact, I had to down here this little hold here. This doesn't really do much structurally. It just kind of holds the line in place. It keeps this distance. I actually had to put a pair of very, very narrow needle nose pliers through there, grab the tube and pull it through because I couldn't push it through there. It wouldn't work. There's no eyelet on these, so I didn't have an eyelet to push through them. So I've heard people using shrink wrap for that purpose. I have never tried it myself. Maybe I should give that a try in the future, using shrink wrap to create an eyelet essentially on a piece of paracord. But once I got it through, it went through the rest of them without a problem, and it laces up just beautifully, and it lies thin enough because it gets flat. It can slip into those tight eyelets, those tight hooks rather. The eyelets are down here. Those are not eyelets. These are eyelets. These are hooks. It slips in there behind the hooks without a problem, and it is now the thickness the laces were, but of course it's also considerably wider because it's a tube. And paracord is going to be the best lace you ever have. I have a pair of boots in the office. I mean, I'm in the office. I'm in the office, in the bedroom, and I've had them for 6 years. I only keep them around because they're backups. Also, I use them in the wintertime in my shop because I want to be able to go to the basement. I have to go outside to do that. I can't go inside the building to do that. I have to go outside. So I want logger boots so I can get through the snow to get down into my shop. So I keep those around, and those laces, I put them on once after the initial pair of laces that came with them failed, and they've lasted me ever since. So I have absolute confidence that these right here will last as long as I own these boots. And when I'm done, I will uh, quite likely salvage them. I don't think I'll be using these as my next. I may keep these around as backups. I'm not positive. I will be keeping the other ones as still as my shop boots because those are 100% leather and these aren't. And when I'm in my shop, I make a lot of sparks. You don't want to make sparks with anything that isn't full leather because you will just melt it. And I've done that. I've melted shoes without meaning to. Uh, and so now I'm careful. But this, great shoe. The laces that came with them, not so great. But paracord is an awesome replacement. So if you find yourself in a situation where you need new uh, boot laces, whether boots or shoes or what have you, and you want the most durable thing you're ever going to find, use paracord. And if you need to get something that's a little on the thinner side, either because your hooks or eyelets are smaller, or because you just want that to lay flat to give you a different look, so it's not a round thing, it's a flat thing, because I did that with a pair of light hikers once because I preferred the look of it. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be your go-to solution. It really is. So this has been my further adventures in Keen work boots and how I decided to replace them with the best darn laces you are ever going to have.